I would like to talk a little bit about the masks. So I think this has become such an important issue. And I think people take it for granted. So there was a really interesting study. What they did is, they looked at breathing people. Just breathing like you and I, and everyone else, not coughing. They were not speaking, they were not sneezing, not exhaling either. In fact, they were just breathing. And they measured their condensate. The condensate in someone who is breathing contains over 1 billion viruses.
So, if we have a mirror in front of me while I'm breathing, that condensation would be there and can have more than 1 billion viruses in it. So you know what I think? It tells us how infectious this disease is. It tells us how rapidly this virus replicates in the upper airways. So this is completely different to the flu. This is why it's so contagious, why it spreads so quickly. And that the higher the viral load, the worse the disease. So there is absolutely no question of doubt. The only way to control this pandemic is for universal masking. It's not a political thing, it's just common sense. The only way we're going to control this is by wearing a mask. While several advanced countries are struggling to contain rising the second and third waves of COVID-19. Bhutan, the gross national happiness land, under the guidance of His Majesty the King, has a story to tell on effective containment of the virus, despite limited healthcare resources. Almost 95% of eligible population are vaccinated, and still they follow the face masking sincerely and very diligently.
The interesting thing about wearing a mask is, it doesn't only protect other people, it actually protects the wearer. Because, what happens is if you wear a mask, obviously it's not an N95, so it doesn't stop all viruses, but it significantly decreases the viral load. So, if you wear a mask, you are much more likely to have an asymptomatic infection than a symptomatic infection. I'll show you a really interesting observation. And this is called the tale of two cruisers. As you know, the Diamond Princess was the ship stuck off the coast of Japan. Yeah, it was the first ship. Nobody wore masks. When they tested the people, about 20 of all the infections were asymptomatic. The rest were all symptomatic. Then, there was an Argentinian ship that went to that Arctic. Another cruise ship had an outbreak too. But what happened on this ship is, every single person was forced to wear a mask. When they tested them, 81% of the infections were asymptomatic. They were far fewer symptomatic, but most of them were asymptomatic.
So it's telling you if you wear a mask, you have a decreased viral load. The viral load or inoculum size is one of the most critical factors in determining the outcome of the disease. Because the higher the viral load, the more it replicates, and then once you kill the virus, the more viral debris you have. So, wearing a mask protects you, as well as your fellow citizens. So, you know, the question of masks is no longer a question. So this is a very important point here.
Thus the viral load is so important. The higher the load, the more viruses you have. The more inflammation you have, so you want to try and decrease your viral load, and try and prevent transmission. So, if we wear masks and kind of reduce the amount of exposure, then it is possible that, even if we get it, we would actually get out of it, with lesser price to pay. Maybe asymptomatically or with lesser symptoms compared to becoming aggravated in the ICU.
The other thing people forget is, you know, when we get a vaccine, it's not going to be 100% effective. It may be 70%. So we still need to wear masks, because it's still going to be circulating, so we are stuck with mask.
Whether we like it or not, we just got to get used to them. We have to accept it, that this is the only way we're going to control the pandemic. We would like to advise that using double face mask offers you extra protection.
This is not some kind of a hoax. It's not fake news either. It's real, and we people just have to be responsible and let's all wear masks. The double face mask.